Imagine a country shaped like the letter S. Vietnam stretches along the entire eastern edge of the Indochina Peninsula. It is a country of extraordinary beauty, where misty mountains blend with emerald seas and ancient temples cast shadows over bustling modern cities. Vietnam borders China to the north, Laos and Cambodia to the west, the South China Sea to the east, and the Gulf of Thailand to the southwest. But behind this beautiful geography lies a complex history. Today, the country is divided into 28 provinces and 6 municipalities. These 6 cities are directly under the control of the central government. One of them is the capital, Hanoi. Right next to Hanoi is another municipality, Haiphong. These are the second and third largest cities in the country. But the largest city is Ho Chi Minh City, which the locals still call Saigon. It is slightly larger than Hanoi. It is home to the country's largest and busiest airport, and the busiest seaport, Port of Saigon.
Vietnam has about 4,000 islands off its coast. The largest and most attractive is Phu Quoc, located off the coast of Cambodia. It is called the Hawaii of Vietnam. It is truly a paradise. But then comes the most controversial territory in Southeast Asia, the Spratly Islands. Simply put, almost all countries in the region claim all or a large part of these islands. Many have even built military bases here. Vietnam is at the top of the list of claimants. It claims 29 islands, including the main Spratly Island. It is not just a matter of land. There is an exclusive economic zone here. There are strategic advantages. Control of this area is so important that in 2014, it was reported that Vietnamese soldiers literally had to sign documents. They are ready to die for a possible military action against China. The amount of interest and the balance is telling. The tension is palpable. Now let's come to the country's infrastructure. Vietnam has a vast network of roads and highways. The longest highway is called Chi Way Bell 1 Highway. Actually, it is better known as Highway 1A. It is about 1,650 kilometers long. It runs from the Chinese border to the southernmost tip of Cam Ranh.
If you prefer train travel, there is good news. The longest train line, the Unification Express, runs between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. It takes about 34 hours, a slow, romantic journey. But to be honest, Vietnam is not a country of cars or trains. Vietnam was not always what it is today. Long ago, there were the Bac Viet, or 100 ancient Vietnamese tribes, who were spread across what is now southern China and northern Vietnam. But the Chinese ruled Vietnam in 4 separate phases for about 1,000 years. So you can still see a deep Chinese influence in Vietnam today. Temples, pagodas, and even folk religious shrines all are built in the traditional East Asian architectural style. However, this influence was mainly limited to northern Vietnam. The south was completely different. There were Indianized kingdoms, especially the Champa kingdom. Champa was an Austronesian Hindu kingdom, whose culture was close to Malaysia. But that changed with the Nam Tien, or Southern Expedition. Vietnamese rulers occupied southern lands for centuries, pushing their borders all the way to the Mekong Delta.
North Vietnam is the cultural heartland, and it is here that the mountains dominate. Phan Xipon is the country's highest peak. The Red and Black rivers originate here, creating the fertile Red River Delta. The city of Sapa is in the north, where it snows, one of the few places in Vietnam. And there is Halong Bay, a mystical seascape. Then, heading south, you'll find the beautiful beaches of Da Nang and Nha Trang. The ancient capital, Hue, stands quietly. In the central highlands is Dalat, the city of love. Its altitude has created its own microclimate, much cooler than the rest of the country. It is in this central highland that most of Vietnam's coffee is grown. Finally, the land gradually flattens out into the Mekong Delta, the longest river estuary in Southeast Asia. the most fertile region in the country, where mangoes, jackfruit, and durian are sold on floating markets. Vietnam's economy was once tightly controlled by the state. But after the death of leader Le Duan in 1986, the government introduced Doi Moi, a reform that opened the door to the private sector. In July 2000, Vietnam signed a bilateral trade agreement with the United States. The result? They have maintained annual growth rates of more than 5% for decades. Electronics and automotive production have grown rapidly. In 2018, General Motors sold its Vietnam operations to VinFast, Vietnam's first domestic car brand. You'll notice that many big brand names start with Viet or Vin. Vietcombank, Vinmart, Viettel. Vietnam is an economic powerhouse. It is the world's largest producer of cashew nuts, fifth in rice, third in rubber, and second in coffee. Only Brazil is ahead of them, and Brazil is about 25 times larger in size than Vietnam. As of 2023, Vietnam has a population of just over 100 million, the 15th most populous country in the world. About 85% are ethnic Vietnamese, Kin. The remaining 15% are people from 54 different minority groups, Hmong, Dao, Thai, Nung. The currency is the Vietnamese dong, and every banknote has a portrait of Ho Chi Minh. Why are many houses in Saigon so narrow? During the French colonial era, taxes were levied on the width of the house facing the street, not the height. So people built long, narrow tube houses to save money. In foreign policy, Vietnam follows the 4 no's: no military alliances, no foreign bases, etc. It emphasizes trade and cultural exchanges. After the Vietnam War, the country's people spread all over the world. Today, the largest Vietnamese diaspora is in the United States, more than 2.1 million. In France, about 400,000. Every year, millions of French and American tourists return, not as soldiers, but as tourists, and they receive English and French language services. From the cool mountains of Sapa to the warm floating markets of the Mekong, from ancient Chinese pagodas to the wild beaches of Phu Quoc, Vietnam is a country that has fought with China, with the Mongols, with the French, with America, and even with itself. Yet they survive, vibrant, resilient, and stunningly beautiful as an S-shaped country on the map of Asia. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel to stay with us and become a member of our family. See you in the next video.